So I made a video a little while ago talking about the Chase Claypool trade that the Bears made, and to my surprise, that video popped the fuck off. It got over 3,000 views, and you guys seem to really enjoy that concept. So I'm gonna tackle it again with a different trade, a more blockbuster trade, if you will. Now I've already made a video talking about the Russell Wilson trade. I've kind of made a few, if we're being real, but I made one whole video discussing the trade, discussing the fallout, the future of the Seahawks. That's not what this video is about. This video is once again a defense of a trade. In this video, I am once again Mike Ross, and I'm going to be defending the Denver Broncos for trading for Russell Wilson.
Yo, Broncos country, let's ride, baby.
Because I'm getting a little sick and tired of you guys disrespecting Russell Wilson.
That's not what he wanted to cook.
Disrespecting his ability and making fun of him.
I think Russell Wilson is one of the least authentic personalities we have in this league. I think Russell Wilson is a poser.
It hurts my feelings a lot, actually. So let's start from the beginning. Russell Wilson was traded to the Denver Broncos on March 8th, 2022 for a pretty substantial package, including multiple first rounders, multiple second rounders, and a few players. So I think it's important to understand why the Broncos swung for the fences and made this big trade. In 2015, the Broncos won the Super Bowl. It was the last season and last game, respectively, of Peyton Manning's career. And ever since that 2015 season, two things can be said about the Denver Broncos. A, their defenses have been awesome, consistently ranking in the top 10 and amongst one of the best units in the entire NFL. And B, they cannot figure out the quarterback situation. They have shuffled so many different guys: Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian, Case Keenum, Brock Osweiler. They had Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock for a while. Nothing was working. And being that they play in a division that currently houses both Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, you cannot have a below average quarterback and expect to compete in that division. So they saw what the Rams had done a previous year, trading a couple first round picks for a veteran quarterback in Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford, what he was able to do was take the Rams over that hump that they weren't able to get over with Jared Goff. Matthew Stafford, in his first season, led the Rams to a Super Bowl, led the Rams to a Super Bowl win. No matter what the Rams did with Matthew Stafford beyond that season, that trade was a success because they were able to accomplish their ultimate goal. Now, I think the Broncos had similar thinking, and with all of those factors that I just named in mind, they knew that they had to make a big trade for a quarterback. I think their initial target was Aaron Rodgers because of the Nathaniel Hackett connection, but when that was squashed, I think they went on to a different veteran quarterback, one in particular who actually beat them in a Super Bowl just about 10 years ago. And obviously, that player was Russell Wilson, who went to the Broncos. It was a big thing, and unfortunately didn't have the success in year one that Matthew Stafford had. And the trade package was steep. Of course it was. Anytime you trade for a quarterback in particular, the trade package is going to be steep. Quarterbacks are the most important position in the entire league, so it makes sense that when you trade for one, you're going to have to give up the most. So people have already written off this trade as a massive win for Seattle, and as a Seahawks fan, I wouldn't mind that. But right now, I'm not a Seahawks fan. I'm a lawyer. I'm defending Russell Wilson. So I'm going to give you guys a few points as to why I think this trade isn't just an absolute slam dunk win by the Seahawks and why it could be a mutually beneficial win-win trade for both sides. Let's start off. Did Russell Wilson have a great year last year? No, he didn't. He did not have a good year last year relative to his standards that he had every single season in Seattle. But what I'll say is Russell Wilson has had one bad year. Russell Wilson is still under contract until 2028. He has time to figure it out. He's going to get better. He's going to improve. He's going to acclimate, and we'll talk about this in a second, acclimate to the new coaching situation that they got in Denver. One bad season doesn't write off the whole trade because he's still under contract for many more years. Number two, and people underestimate this, but the initial adjustment period from having a new city, a new team, new teammates, new receivers, new play callers, all of that, it can be daunting in year one. And the adjustment period was definitely rough for Russell Wilson with Denver. People expected it to go a little bit smoother. But even a guy like Matthew Stafford, obviously he was able to have many success in Los Angeles. But he also, threw a lot of interceptions that year. So it wasn't exactly smooth sailing the whole year for him either. Number three, Nathaniel Hackett. I think many people who are optimistic about Russell Wilson for the future are also pessimistic about what Nathaniel Hackett did in Denver. He clearly was just way in over his head as the head coach. He could not handle it. He couldn't control the team. His offensive schemes, he's an offensive guy, and his offensive schemes were terrible. His clock management was terrible. Everything he did was just really bad. And if nothing else, he negatively impacted what Russell Wilson could have done in this year. I'm not going to put 100% of the blame on Nathaniel Hackett, but it's very hard to succeed when your head coach is a numbskull like Nathaniel Hackett was. On the flip side of that, now he has Sean Payton, a proven quality head coach who's been doing it for many, many years. Took a little bit of time off, so he's refreshed, he's rejuvenated. This is a guy that's won a Super Bowl, and this is a guy that led Drew Brees to have some of the best passing seasons in NFL history. If anybody's going to turn Russell Wilson around, I promise you, it's going to be Sean Payton. Speaking of reinforcements coming in, the Broncos also had some new offseason additions. They improved the offensive line, which was pretty bad last year. They also drafted some guys in the draft like Marvin Mims to help out at receiver. I think tight end Greg Dulcich is going to be much better this year, and I think we'll finally, hopefully, see those breakout seasons that we've been promised from Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. And my last point, and I want to appeal right to the jury when I say this. What of these scenarios seems more likely to you? A guy in Russell Wilson who had, 9 Pro Bowls, consistently one of the game's elite quarterbacks, goes to Denver and just loses his ability to play quarterback? Or is it the fact that his head coach was terrible, his offensive line was awful, his receivers were dropping balls like it was going out of style, and it just was all a perfect storm in a good division to make this trade look terrible at the moment? I am of the belief that Russell Wilson did not just lose his elite quarterback capabilities in one offseason. I really doubt that. If they did, then we might need to sign Pete Carroll up for witchcraft because he clearly predicted the future there. But I still think that there's a good quarterback in him somewhere. I think Sean Payton's going to be able to get it out, and I think the Broncos did enough in the offseason to help him out next season. So for those reasons, I believe the Broncos were not only justified to make the Russell Wilson trade, but I believe it'll start paying dividends this season and prove itself to be a win-win trade for both the Broncos and the Seahawks. So this is my video defending the Russell Wilson trade. If you guys like this series of me defending controversial trades, let me know in the comments down below. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification button so you don't miss future uploads of mine. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.